In our last episode, Krishna revealed a powerful truth. Knowledge alone isn't enough. Wisdom that never changes the way you live is only information. Understanding must eventually become action. But Arjuna still has one question, and perhaps so do we. Have you ever felt like life itself is the problem? Work, deadlines, family responsibilities, financial pressure, the endless rush. Wouldn't peace be easier if we could simply walk away? No expectations, no stress, just silence. If you've ever felt that way, this chapter is for you. Because Krishna is about to challenge one of the biggest misconceptions about spirituality. Peace doesn't come from doing less, it comes from living differently. Arjuna asks Krishna directly, "You praise renunciation, and yet you also praise action. Tell me clearly, which path is better?" It's a question that still exists today. Should I keep chasing success or simplify my life? Should I strive harder or let go? We often believe these are opposite paths, that ambition and spirituality cannot exist together. But Krishna says they can. Both action and renunciation can lead to the same goal. Yet for most people, there is a better path. Not escaping life, but learning how to live in it with freedom. Because changing your surroundings doesn't always change your mind. Have you ever gone on holiday, only to realize your worries packed their bags too? The scenery changed. Your thoughts didn't. You can leave your office and still carry work inside your head. You can end a difficult relationship and still carry resentment for years. You can change your circumstances without changing yourself. Krishna says true renunciation isn't about abandoning your responsibilities. It's about abandoning your attachment to them. The fear, the anxiety, the desperate need to control every outcome. The real prison isn't your job, or your family, or your circumstances. It's the grip they have on your mind. Then Krishna completely redefines what it means to renounce. A true renunciate isn't someone who owns nothing. It's someone who isn't owned by anything. Think about two people doing exactly the same job. Both work hard. Both care about excellence. But one person's happiness rises and falls with every promotion, every compliment, every criticism. The other gives their best, learns from every setback, and remains peaceful regardless of the result. From the outside, their lives look the same. Inside, they're living in completely different worlds. That's Krishna's point. Freedom doesn't come from avoiding responsibility. It comes from changing your relationship with it. Go to work, love your family, pursue your goals, but don't let your identity depend on them. Because the moment your peace depends on external results, you become their prisoner. Most of us spend our lives trying to change our circumstances. A different job, a different city, a different relationship. Believing, then I'll finally be happy. But Krishna gently asks a different question. What if peace isn't waiting somewhere else? What if it's waiting for a different way of seeing the life you already have? And to explain that, Krishna gives one of the most beautiful metaphors in the entire Bhagavad Gita, the lotus leaf. Krishna now gives Arjuna one of the most beautiful images in the Bhagavad Gita, a lotus leaf. It lives in the middle of the pond. Water surrounds it. Rain falls on it. Waves move beneath it. Yet not a single drop stays on its surface. The water touches it, but never clings to it. Krishna says this is how we should live, not by avoiding the world, but by learning not to absorb everything that happens within it. Think about your own day, a critical email, an argument at home, a rude driver, a disappointing meeting. Each event may last only a few minutes. Yet we often carry it for the rest of the day, sometimes for years. The event is over, but the mind keeps replaying it. Krishna reminds us that suffering doesn't always come from what happens to us. Often, it comes from refusing to let it go. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent. The lotus still lives in the water. It doesn't run away from the pond. Likewise, Krishna isn't asking us to avoid life. He's asking us to participate fully, without allowing every success or failure to define us. He says the wise perform every action with sincerity, but without attachment. At first, that sounds impossible. How can you work hard without being attached to the result? Think of an athlete preparing for a championship. They train with discipline, give everything they have. But once the competition begins, they cannot control every variable: the weather, the referee, their opponent. They can only control their effort. The same is true in life. You are responsible for your actions, not for controlling every outcome. The moment you focus on what you can control, instead of obsessing over what you cannot, peace begins to replace anxiety. That is karma yoga, doing your best and letting go of the rest. Krishna then introduces another powerful image. He calls the body the city of 9 gates. Imagine a great city. People enter, people leave, messages arrive. Noise fills the streets. But every city needs a wise ruler. Without one, chaos takes over. Krishna asks us to look within. Who is governing your inner city? Wisdom or impulse? How often do you promise yourself, "I won't get angry again," only to lose your temper a few hours later? How often do you open your phone for one message and 20 minutes disappear? Most of us think we're making conscious choices, but many of our reactions happen automatically. Krishna says the wise person learns to observe before reacting. That small pause changes everything. Because every regret begins the same way. One impulsive word, one emotional decision, one uncontrolled reaction. But every act of wisdom also begins the same way, with a pause, a moment to breathe, a moment to choose. The world around us may always be noisy, but we don't have to let that noise rule our mind. You may not control what happens outside you, but you can gradually learn to govern what happens within you. And that's where true freedom begins. Because the strongest person isn't the one who controls other people. It's the one who has learned to master themselves. And with that understanding, Krishna introduces one of the most revolutionary teachings in the entire Bhagavad Gita: the wisdom of seeing every living being with equal vision. Have you ever noticed how quickly we compare ourselves to others? Someone has a better job, a bigger house, more money, more followers, a seemingly perfect life. Without realizing it, our mind begins to rank people. Better, worse, ahead, behind. And the moment we do, our peace disappears. If we think we're above someone, our ego grows. If we think we're below them, our confidence shrinks. Either way, comparison steals our joy. Krishna now shares one of the most revolutionary teachings in the Bhagavad Gita. He says the truly wise see with equal vision: a learned scholar, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and even the most rejected person in society. This doesn't mean everyone behaves the same. People make different choices. Some deserve our trust. Others require caution. But Krishna asks us to look beyond labels. Because before the world gave us a title, a profession, or a social status, we were all simply human. Think of the sun. Every morning it rises, without asking who deserves its light. It shines on the rich and the poor, the successful and the struggling, the kind and the imperfect. Krishna reminds us that the divine sees every soul with that same compassion. Imagine how different our lives would be if we stopped asking, "Who is greater?" and started asking, "What can I learn from this person?" The moment we stop measuring human worth by external success, comparison begins to lose its power, and that's real freedom. Krishna then asks another timeless question. Where does lasting happiness come from? Think about the last thing you desperately wanted. A promotion? A new phone? A dream vacation? Recognition? When you finally got it, it felt wonderful. For a while. Then slowly, it became normal, and the mind found something else to chase. We've all experienced this. The excitement fades, the desire returns. Krishna isn't saying there's anything wrong with enjoying life's blessings. He's simply reminding us. They cannot be the foundation of lasting peace. Anything that depends entirely on external circumstances will eventually change. Success changes, money changes, health changes, relationships change. If our happiness depends only on those things, our happiness will constantly rise and fall with them. So Krishna offers another path. Enjoy what life gives you. Be grateful for it. But don't become dependent on it. He compares the wise person to a tree with deep roots. Storms still come. Strong winds still blow. But the tree remains standing. Why? Because its strength comes from within. That's the kind of stability Krishna wants us to develop. To celebrate success, without becoming attached to it. To face failure, without being broken by it. Then Krishna gives one of the most practical lessons in the chapter. He doesn't say, never feel anger, or never experience desire. Instead, he teaches us not to become their servant. Every regret begins with one uncontrolled moment, one angry reply, one impulsive decision, one emotional reaction. But wisdom begins in the same place. A pause, a single conscious breath before we act. That tiny space between feeling and reacting is where freedom lives. The world may not always give you peace, but your response to the world can. And once you discover that, you begin to realize something extraordinary. Real happiness isn't something you find, it's something you uncover. When your peace no longer depends on everything going your way. But how do we train the mind to remain so steady? That is exactly where Krishna takes Arjuna next. After teaching Arjuna where true happiness comes from, Krishna gives him something even more valuable, a way to experience it. Because wisdom isn't meant to stay in books. It's meant to transform the way we live. Krishna speaks of a mind that is calm, steady, and turned inward. At first, it sounds like a teaching about meditation, but it's really a teaching about attention. Think about how much of your day is spent reacting. A notification pulls your attention. A headline changes your mood. A single comment stays in your mind for hours. Without noticing, we allow the outside world to decide how we feel. Krishna invites us to reclaim that power. He teaches that peace begins the moment we stop reacting to every thought and start observing it instead. Imagine sitting beside a river. The water keeps flowing. You don't try to stop it. You simply watch. Your thoughts are the same. They will come. They will go. You don't have to follow every fear, every worry, every impulse. The more you observe, the less they control you. This is why meditation isn't about escaping the world. It's about preparing your mind to live wisely within it. A calm mind makes better decisions, speaks more kindly, loves more deeply, and suffers less. That is the peace Krishna wants Arjuna to discover. As chapter 5 comes to an end, Krishna leaves us with a profound reminder. true peace doesn't come from abandoning life. It comes from changing the way we live it. Be like the lotus leaf. Live in the world. But don't let the world live inside you. Do your work with sincerity. Love your family wholeheartedly. Pursue your dreams with dedication. But don't tie your happiness to results you cannot control. See beyond titles, wealth, and status. Every person carries the same divine spark. And perhaps the greatest freedom of all is found in the small pause between what happens to you and how you choose to respond. That pause is where wisdom speaks. That pause is where your character is formed. That pause is where peace begins. But Arjuna's journey is far from over. He now understands that action can become worship, and that peace is possible even while living an ordinary life. Yet one question still remains. If the mind is the key to everything, how do we actually control it? Anyone who has tried to meditate knows the struggle. The body becomes still, but the mind keeps running. It remembers. It worries. It plans. It wanders. Arjuna is about to ask the very question that every seeker has asked. Krishna, how can anyone control a mind that refuses to stay still? And Krishna's answer is one of the most practical, hopeful, and transformative teachings in the entire Bhagavad Gita. We'll explore that together in Chapter 6. Until then, if today's episode helped you see your own life a little more clearly, share it with someone who may need these timeless teachings. Because wisdom doesn't change the world until it changes the way we live. Jai Shri Krishna.